Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going on a journey with a pretty unusual guide, the new Atlas of Invisible Geographies. Yeah, this is an atlas that maps territories you will not find on any globe. We're talking about the landscapes of our inner lives. Okay, so right off the bat, this atlas hits us with a pretty bold claim. It says that every traditional map starts with a lie. You know, the lie that you can actually capture the living, breathing world and just press it flat between the pages of a book. But this atlas, it starts with a confession about what it really means to try and map our inner worlds. And that leads to this incredible question. What if a map's real power came from admitting it's going to fail? The source proposes something kind of radical here, that a map's honesty about its own failure is exactly what makes it trustworthy. And boom, there it is. That's the core idea. The failure is the map. See, the journey isn't about getting to some perfect destination. It's about the honest, messy attempt to chart our feelings. The map is just a record of that attempt. Okay, so before we can start exploring these territories, the atlas says we need to pack a toolkit. But these aren't your typical explorer's tools, for measuring things. These are tools for a completely different skill, attention. So here they are, the 5 essential tools. First up, negative capability. That's just the ability to stay in uncertainty without scrambling for an answer. Then there's apoke, suspending your assumptions about how you're supposed to feel. Third, the body, actually listening to its physical data. Fourth, interior time, just letting things land slowly, And finally, permission, giving yourself permission to feel what's actually there, not what you think should be there. All right, with our tools packed, our first expedition takes us to a vast, and let's be honest, a necessary territory. It's a place we all travel through at some point, the geography of grief. Now, this is where the metaphor just gets so powerful. Grief isn't some temporary state or a country you just pass through. No, it's a continent. It's a landscape that's vast enough to live in, with its own weather, its own distinct regions, and it's a place you never really entirely leave. One of the key landmarks on this continent is what the atlas calls the negative imprint. Just think of that empty chair at the dinner table. That emptiness, it has a shape, doesn't it? It has a weight. It's the very real, palpable absence of what was lost. And sometimes that absence feels more real than anything that's left. And the waters of grief, well, they're not all the same. The atlas identifies these distinct types. You've got the flash flood, which can be triggered by a song or a smell and arrives with absolutely no warning. Then there's the underground river, flowing silently for years, all the way to the glacier. This is grief that's been frozen, suspended in ice, that can thaw suddenly and unexpectedly years down the line. All right, so from that vast, heavy continent, let's completely shift gears and journey to a very different kind of geography, the territory of joy. Now, unlike that huge continent of grief, joy is described as an archipelago. It's a scattering of islands that, by their very nature, emerge and then they submerge. They aren't meant to be permanent land masses. And this right here is a crucial insight. We often cause ourselves pain because we try to build permanent homes on these islands of joy. But the atlas argues that joy's impermanence isn't a flaw, it's a feature. The incredible beauty of a sunset is completely tied to the fact that it's passing. Oh, I just love the way the source puts this. Happiness, it says, is domesticated. We can work at it, we can cultivate it, but joy is feral. It's wild. You can't breed it or train it. It shows up on its own time, often when you are least expecting it. So if we can't hunt down joy, what can we do? Well, we can create the conditions that make us available to it. And that means things like being present, being open, and abandoning this whole idea that we have to somehow deserve it. It means being willing to be interrupted by it. And all of this brings us right back to where we started, the power of a map that admits it can't actually show you the way. So the most important thing to get here is that this atlas, this way of looking at our inner lives, it's not about giving you answers. It is not a 5-step plan to get over grief or some treasure map to find joy. That's not the point. Instead, it offers something so much more profound. Its whole purpose is just to say, this is real. What you are feeling is a real place. Other people have been here. You are not alone, and you are not wrong for feeling this way. It offers validation, companionship, and permission to just be exactly where you are. And that really is the ultimate takeaway. This isn't just some theoretical exercise. You are already on this expedition. We all are, navigating these invisible geographies every single day. So the real question this atlas leaves us with is this: what will your map look like?